Hello everyone, welcome to Yin and Yang Overview, brought to you by LAMP AccuWellness Foundation Inc. for beginners. The whole world and all the objects in it, living and non-living, and all natural phenomena, including the seasons, have a dual nature that is two-sided. One cannot make absolute statements about any of them. The 24 hours that make up a day are part day and part night. Each human being is a man and a woman as well. A house has an interior and an exterior. Even the best of people have a bad side, and so on. This unity of opposites is essential to make a whole entity. In fact, if one of the two sides did not exist, the other would lose the reason for its existence. In other words, the two sides are complementary, and one cannot exist without the other. For instance, there is no winter in the tropical regions, and therefore no summer, just warm weather throughout the year. There is, however, a rainy season and a dry season. In Europe, it rains throughout the year rather than during a particular season. But there are 4 seasons due to the very cold and warm temperatures at different times of the year. Yin is black, Yang is white. As Yin is black, it symbolizes shadow or darkness, things that are quieter, aloof, the moon, and all things with dark energy. The white of Yang, on the other hand, is used to symbolize warmth, positive energy, active motion, and the sun. Within the symbol, not only do the white and black segments fit perfectly with each other to form a circle, each has a small circle of the other color within it to further show the connection between the two. The small circles also show that nothing is absolute. In all yin, there is a little yang, and vice versa. This further demonstrates the connection between the two. The outer circle of the yin-yang symbol represents the entirety of the universe. It shows that yin and yang represent everything that we know, as well as things we don't understand. Yin and yang are both parts of an entity, of every object, person, or phenomenon. The ratio of yin and yang could be different in different situations, but they are both always present. A change in the ratio between them would bring about a change in the situation, or in the person, in their state of health, for instance. Yin and Yang are also 2 of the few Chinese words that do not have an equivalent word in any other language. It is therefore necessary for us to visualize them and understand their meaning, or better still, feel what they mean to us. Essentially, Yin is the darker side of anything, and the Yang is the brighter side. Yang is also described as the active and the changing side and is formless. The Yin is a solid form. It is the constant and passive side. In humans, the man represents the Yang and the woman represents Yin. In the seasons, spring and summer are more Yang and autumn and winter are more Yin. The sun represents Yang and the moon represents yin. The concept of yin and yang. When it is said that man is yang and woman is yin, it does not mean that a man is 100% yang, and that is why he is a man. Like everybody and everything around him, man is a combination of yin and yang. But he has relatively more yang attributes than yin in comparison to those in a woman. Some men could have more yang and less yin than others, and this could make them more masculine or more feminine, respectively. So, when something is said to be of a yang nature, it means that although yin and yang are both present simultaneously, yang is dominant at this moment and yin is weaker. To understand yin and yang further, and in order to grasp their working relationship, we need first to look at what they stand for. The yin-yang symbol represents the interconnectedness of the world, particularly the natural world. There can be no positive without a negative, no open without closed, no light without shadow. The yin-yang symbol itself portrays that interrelatedness. Looking at the symbol, you can see it doesn't have a straight line going through the center to represent the divide between yin and yang. Inside, the dividing line is a soft S shape. It shows how yin and yang are connected and constantly flowing into and out of each other. At the top of the symbol, as yang swells, yin contracts. At the bottom, yin swells as yang contracts. The ideal situation is when there is an equal balance between the two, as that is when harmony is achieved. Yin and yang represent opposite forces that, when they are joined, represent everything in the natural world. Together, they represent the different facets of the world and the way they need to be carefully balanced to be complete. One cannot exist without the other, the same way movement can't exist without rest, or shade cannot exist without sun. Both yin and yang always need to be present, and one is not superior to the other. The ideal scenario is for yin and yang to be perfectly balanced and each have an equal share of the whole. When this happens, there is harmony and equality in the world. The balance between yin and yang is always changing. That's part of the reason why the two segments look as though they are flowing into and out of each other in the yin-yang symbol. There's never a point where yin and yang stop moving. The same way, the amount of light and dark is always changing as the sun rises and sets each day. Sometimes, once a balance of yin and yang has been achieved, something from outside the system can disrupt it. This principle is often used in traditional Chinese medicine, where external factors can disrupt the balance within a body and cause health problems. It must be remembered that everything on earth can be classified as either yin or yang. We now go on to explain how these classifications can be used to diagnose disease states. In traditional Chinese medicine, the body is thought to be healthy when yin and yang are in balance. Different factors such as diet, stress, and pollution can enter the body and cause either yin or yang to dominate. When this happens, the person becomes ill because their body is no longer in harmony. The medical practitioner must determine whether yin or yang has become dominant and work to restore the balance. Yin and yang are the underlying principles of Chinese philosophy and medicine. Good health is believed to come from a balance of yin, negative, dark, and feminine, and yang, positive, bright, and masculine. Yin and yang are in constant flux. If one becomes unbalanced in the body, illness occurs. For example, since yin is cold, an excess of yin can cause illnesses such as insomnia and dry mouth. Conversely, a yang deficiency can cause cold limbs and a sickly complexion. The dual energies of yin and yang must work in harmony at all times. If there is too much of one energy, there will be too little of the other. And something will have to change in order to restore the balance. This is where the concept of yin-yang comes into play in traditional Chinese medicine. While yin and yang forms the basis of TCM and Chinese philosophy, this overarching dynamic can be further broken down into the theory of the 5 elements, in which certain elements represent yin and others embody yang. This theory also attributes a qi to each of the 5 vital organs. For example, there are a liver qi, a kidney qi, and a heart qi. Each organ qi is associated with one of the 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. According to yin-yang and the theory of 5 elements, illnesses are a direct result of an imbalance in or excess of qi. For example, depression is most commonly associated with an imbalance in liver qi. When a patient seems depressed, a TCM practitioner might address their liver qi stagnation through acupuncture and/or a prescription of herbal remedies. TCM texts, like Western medicine textbooks, house a vast amount of information that help the practitioner devise a proper treatment. Some of these texts are thousands of years old, such as the 2200-year-old Huang Tin I Ching. Modern TCM texts compile empirical evidence not only from ancient TCM texts like Huang Tin I Ching, but also from modern TCM practices. As you can see, there is no disease that is specifically yin or yang in character. This is determined by the associated symptoms and the causes that worsen or improve these symptoms. The state of yang excess. This state is that yang energy is greater than normal condition as unbalanced state. Cooling power to reduce the yang energy cannot regulate the heat energy. In patients, the clinical signs include high fever, red or purple tongue, and strong pulse. Yang excess tends to have acute onset and short course in young age. The strategy of treatment is to clear heat. GB14 and Li4 are good points to clear heat. The state of yin excess. This state is that yin energy is greater than normal condition as unbalanced state. Cooling power to control the balance overwhelms the warming energy. In patients, the clinical signs include pain, swelling, edema, loose stool, pale or purple tongue, and slow pulse. Yin excess tends to have acute onset and short course in young patients. The strategy of treatment is to clear the cool. GV4 is a good point to sedate the cool. The state of yang deficiency. The state is that yang is lower than normal condition as unbalanced state, but yin is normal. Warming power is not enough to equalize the cooling energy. So, the coldness results from the deficiency of yang. In patients, the clinical signs include coldness at extremities, edema, loose stool, chronic back pain, urinary incontinence, and weakness of the rear limbs, fertility disorder, pale tongue, and weak or deep pulse. Yang deficiency tends to have chronic onset and long course in older patients. The strategy of treatment is to tonify the yang energy. Baihui, as moxa application, is a good point to tonify the yang. And finally, the state of yin deficiency. The state is that yin is lower than normal condition as unbalanced state, but yang is normal. Cooling power is not enough to equalize the warming energy, so the heat results from the deficiency of yin. In patients, the clinical signs include general weakness, thirst, restlessness, anxiety, red or dry tongue, thready or fast pulse. Yin deficiency tends to have chronic onset and long course in older patients. The strategy of treatment is to increase yin energy. Kidney 3, bladder 23, spleen 6 are good points to nourish the yin. The term function appears in the first table of yin and yang under the heading yang. Although function is yang in character, it is used slightly differently when referring to a disease state. Yang of a functional nature is called qi. The term yang also suggests heat. Although heat can accelerate the functional activities of organs in general, heat as in inflammatory conditions, the harmful or pathogenic heat, can inhibit the healthy functioning of organs. And though the normal functions of certain organs such as the heart can produce heat, the functional activities of some other organs, such as to promote circulation of fluid, elimination of stool, do not necessarily generate heat. Therefore, in order to be clear, we will refer to yang as warmth and to qi as function from now on. Yin includes blood and fluid. Blood refers not only to red blood itself, but also to nutrition in general. In nutritional deficiency, this could lead to weakness, tiredness, and poor endurance, paleness, and coldness. Continued lack of nutrition fails to nourish the functional qi of organs. So this is deficiency in blood that naturally leads to deficient qi. When yin is deficient, there will be dryness without nutritional deficiency. So you develop heat symptoms, which means that yin is unable to control the yang, plus hyperactivity of organs. Blood or nutritional deficiency in an organ may cause shrinkage, weakness, and tiredness, thus slowing normal functional energy, whereas deficiency in yin would cause dryness and consequent heat symptoms. All the energy in us, in nature, and all things around us are dominated by yin and yang. We cannot understand the changes in ourselves or the world around us without understanding yin and yang. Yin and yang are always together, always relating to each other, always reacting to changes in each other. It is this action and reaction that causes changes in and around us. Whenever we treat the yin, we should treat the yang as well. When we treat a yang disease, we must take the yin into consideration too. We are treating a changing state, not a fixed one. Our core natures and personalities reflect yin and yang. A person who is shy and inward would be said to have a yin personality. An outgoing, assertive, or aggressive individual would be said to be more yang. Of course, our personalities change throughout the day and over time. We all go through yin phases and yang phases. Our personal relationships also manifest the principle of yin and yang. Sometimes we dominate another individual, and sometimes we are the dominated. Sometimes we are the giver, and sometimes we are the receiver. Giving and receiving in life are but a reflection of the universal law of yin and yang. The concept of the 8 principles in Chinese medicine theory is the foundation for all other methods of pattern formulation. It is the basic framework of pattern identification, allowing practitioners to identify the location and nature of disease, as well as structuring a treatment protocol. The 8 principles are interior, exterior, hot, cold, full, empty, yin and yang. Differentiation of patterns by the 8 principles forms the theoretical basis for all methods of pattern identification, whether it be patterns according to the channels or the Zangfu organs. And it can be applied to all pattern identification methods. They are applicable in every case. It is important to realize that using the 8 principles does not mean that a disease or disharmony can be rigidly categorized to fit clinical manifestations. However, it does allow practitioners to unravel complicated patterns to identify the most relevant and essential clinical manifestations. Neither should they be used as an either-or approach. It is not uncommon to see a condition that is simultaneously interior and exterior, for example. There will be cases which may not involve all of the characteristics listed. One such example is that of blood deficiency, which does not involve hot or cold. To make a difference between a preponderance and a deficiency is very important. Chinese medicine has 4 strategies to treat yin-yang disharmony. If there is preponderance of yang or yin, it will be treated with eliminating the excess of yang or yin. If there is an apparent excess but actually a deficiency of yin or yang, the treatment will be to tonify yang or yin. In Chinese medicine, acupuncture and herbs are used to treat any yin-yang disharmony. There are herbs to tonify yin or yang, or acupuncture points to eliminate excess of yang or yin. The concept of yin and yang remains the most important pattern pairings. As a general rule, excess yang causes headaches, sore throats, facial redness, nosebleeds, and bad tempers. Excess yin results in cold hands and feet, lethargy, poor blood circulation, and pale complexions. If you have symptoms that are related to an excess of yin, you'll want to begin incorporating more yang foods into your diet and vice versa. For example, if a patient comes to the clinic with a cold, clear mucus, and feeling weak or fatigued, the dietary recommendation would be for them to incorporate more yang foods like animal protein, nuts and seeds, avocado, and red onion. Conversely, if they came in with green mucus and fever, we would recommend more yin foods to help cool their body down and restore balance. We would have them incorporate foods like bananas, watermelons, zucchini, or citrus into their diet. Similarly, if a patient came into the clinic with premenstrual syndrome symptoms, migraines, mood swings, breast sensitivity, and cramps, we would recommend they incorporate more yin foods into their diet since PMS is an indication of excess yang energy. Eating foods like watercress, cucumber, kiwi, and mandarins could help provide relief. You don't have to be ill to use these principles of yin and yang foods, however. If you are not ill but simply looking to maintain a balanced body and optimize your health, you can use these principles to help to maintain balance in your body and support overall weakness. In differentiating yang excess versus yin deficiency, we find it easier to think in terms of big versus small. All yang excess symptoms are bigger, while yin deficiency ones are smaller. Yang excess, there is constipation with large stools. Whole face is red, big thirst, and gulping cold drinks, high fever, profuse bleeding, large rapid pulse. Yin deficiency, constipation with small, dry pebble-like stools, red cheeks, thirst and sipping slowly cold drinks, low-grade fever, slight chronic bleeding, thin, rapid pulse. When looking at the difference between yin excess or excess cold versus yang deficiency, cold coming from a deficiency or the body's inability to warm itself, we like to look at it from this perspective. Yin excess symptoms have local pain, and yang deficiency symptoms have weakness and fatigue. Yin excess can have sharp pain that feels better with warmth, like in dysmenorrhea, while yang deficiency can have fatigue, wanting to sleep all the time. Yin excess in acute stage, like with hypothermia, cannot warm up, while yang deficiency will be able to warm up with soups and blankets. For basic treatments, both can benefit from moxibustion. For yin excess, we scatter the cold, move the blood, and relieve pain. For yang deficiency, we warm and tonify the yang. One of the things we most like about traditional Chinese medicine is the recognition of individuality. This also extends to dietary considerations. There are no one-size-fits-all regimens or diets in TCM. Everything is tailored to the individual's body, and everybody's needs can differ widely. Dieting and nutrition are subjects for which there are many, often conflicting viewpoints. The Eastern view of nutrition works in the same way that the Eastern view of medicine works. It is flexible enough to be uniquely suited to an individual based on their state of health, and also allowing room, in the case of nutrition, for an individual's preferences. The Chinese viewpoint of a balanced diet is one which includes all five tastes: spicy, sour, bitter, sweet, and salty. Foods and herbs which have a particular taste tend to have particular properties. It is these properties that help balance the body for it to work optimally. TCM is also a system of balancing opposites out according to the individual's temperature, as well as the season and food temperature. To balance a yang deficiency, which can be looked at as not enough heat or yang energy to keep the body warm, means using herbs and foods rich in yang or warming energy. Yin deficiency imbalances, explained as not enough fluids to nourish the body, means using foods and herbs that are more yin, which are usually cool and fluid generating. In general, Meats tend to be yang and veggies tend to be yin. The way food is prepared also affects the amount of yang or yin energy it has. Frying tends to increase the yang or heat energy, while steaming tends to increase yin, adding more moisture to the body. Thus, stir-fried veggies are more yang than steamed veggies. A person who is yang deficient or always cold may wish to stir-fry the vegetables he eats, whereas a person who needs more yin, who is more dry, would tend to benefit from eating more steamed veggies. Traditional Chinese herbal preparations also subscribe to the law of balance. Teas or decoctions are less heating or yang than elixirs made with alcohol. Even if the alcohol is dissipated, the making of the formula still has a heating element to it. Of course, the temperature of the foods used in making the formula also determines the effect it has on the body. Overcoming any diet-related disharmony would be to first eat foods that are clean, not eat cold or raw foods to excess, as cold foods do not make it easy to extract the essence of our food. Not to eat too much fat or sweets. They may lead to an excess of phlegm and heaviness. Avoid the overuse of alcohol, since this substance will not even freeze and therefore can heat the body too much. And to try to eat small portions of many different foods, which will include the 5 flavors in them. The main aspects of the yin-yang relationship can be summarized into 4. Opposition of yin and yang, interdependence of yin and yang, mutual consumption of yin and yang, and intertransformation of yin and yang. All this will be discussed on our next videos. The ancient symbol of harmony reminds us that life is a balancing act and most fulfilling when we learn to embrace its dualities, the ups and downs, good times and bad, joys and challenges. Thank you very much for your attention. See you on our next videos.